A critical job is about to come open, and Jasmine Crockett is ready and waiting. Hi, I'm Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and this is The Breakdown. If you like the content on this channel, be sure to subscribe to Legal AF to stay on top of all the foolishness coming out of this current administration. So, the Oversight Committee position in Congress is vacant, and Jasmine Crockett, the illustrious Congresswoman out of Texas, is whipping the vote to get the job. So another person that's seeking the job is Representative Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts. But again, Jasmine Crockett has really risen to prominence, especially in this administration, because of her full-throated, 10 toes down, constant pressure on this administration. I mean, I think we can remember a very classic interaction between her and Marjorie Taylor Greene that, yeah, if you don't remember that one, just look it up. It's a good giggle. But anyway, she has been really whipping the vote because, again, her name is very much out there. She's very prominent. She's been a huge vocal critic of this administration. So why is this so incredibly important? So, the Oversight Committee is the main investigative committee of the House. They can investigate anything that's in Congress's purview. That includes issuing subpoenas, they can hold hearings, conduct investigations, and then, of course, report the findings to the American people. So traditionally, they would be tasked with ensuring, first of all, government agencies are operating according to the law. They would be investigating charges of corruption or waste or misuse of taxpayer funds and any kind of abuse. And then, of course, they then have the power to hold the people and the agencies accountable for their actions. Huge. They also evaluate the performance of government programs and policies to figure out whether or not things are working the way they should. If not, how do we need to adjust and move directions? Also, they also identify areas where programs can be improved or streamlined. Kind of like what Doge tried to do, but failed miserably. Yeah, there was already an infrastructure for that. How about that? Okay. So also, they provide Congress with the information to make decisions on future legislation and policy changes. So in other words, they operate as a check on the White House. They can uncover what's really happening at Department of Homeland Security, and, as well as ICE, in terms of where are people being held, how much money is being spent on all of this, what actions has the administration taken that actually has secured the border versus pomp and circumstance. So kind of cutting through the noise that we all hear on social media and mainstream media and all of that, and being like, here are the receipts, here are the programs, and here's how it's going. So that's kind of critical for all of us in terms of transparency, knowing where our tax dollars are going, and just understanding what's happening in this administration and in our government, and also helping us decide how we should vote moving forward. Because again, once you have that information, you can make decisions accordingly. Also, I'm very curious to know how much money is being spent on wrongfully deporting people and having them housed in foreign prisons. Because, there's been a few different numbers floating out there in terms of how much money Ecuador is getting. Now we know Libya is in the mix. We're hearing South Sudan is in the mix. So how much of our tax dollars is going to other countries to house people, especially when you're expediting their removal without due process? I'd like to know. I'm sure other folks would like to know as well. So these are the types of things that the Oversight Committee can look into and basically try to shine a light on it. Now, I personally think Jasmine Crockett would be amazing for the job because, again, if you just go on YouTube and just kind of pull up some of the different times that she has grilled people, I mean, she gives a master class. She comes prepared. She's got her notes. She's got her receipts, and she is going in and she's going for the jugular. And of course, If you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to be worried about. But if you're doing shady things, she's going to hold your feet to the fire and ask the critical questions that need to be asked. And again, as the chair of that committee, or the ranking member, excuse me, of that committee, you get to set the pace and really guide which investigations your committee is going to take on. So you can think about, for instance, like January 6th and the importance of that investigation and all the different things that came to light as a result of it. Now, if Jasmine Crockett became the ranking member, she can open those investigations into ICE. She can open investigations possibly into Doge and what foolishness they were doing when Apartheid Ken, aka Elon Musk, it was the one that was in charge of that. How much money got wasted there in their failed attempt, and what government programs should be reinstated as a result of their slashing and burning of quote unquote wasteful programs. So this to me is incredibly exciting. Of course, I'm sad for the reason why. To be frank, I really want to see more of young people in these leadership positions. No hate on the senior folks who, again, they paved the way. They have a ton of institutional knowledge, but we've got to be intentional about building the bench of the next folks that are going to come out and become the next Nancy Pelosi, become the next Kamala Harris, become the next President Obama. Can't pull them out of thin air. So we've got to be cultivating these folks and making sure that we've got key people in place that understand how these structures and these different machines work and are savvy, most importantly, savvy at connecting that and communicating that to the public. Because, hey, if you don't follow Jasmine Crockett and AOC on socials, you should, because they, in a very accessible way, break down different concepts that we never really hear about. So this is exciting. Stay tuned. I will come back with more information once we know more. I'm Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and this was The Breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.
I'm Michael Popak, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popak Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popak Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popak Firm today at 1-877-POPAK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopakfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popak Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.